Hey everybody, thanks for joining. This is Brooke Dillard, and today we're going to be talking about how to read the monthly ad spend reports. These are the reports that I send out every month showing you your return on ad spend for Google, hotel ads, TripAdvisor, travel ads, and all of that. So let's get into it. So here's a list of some of the common reporting metrics. These may be things that you've heard of before. This might be new to you, but these are just things that you're going to see in these reports. So when you see a column that says clicks, that's the number of times someone has clicked on your ad for the month. And then average CPC, which is cost per click. That's the average price you pay when someone clicks on your ad. You're charged when someone clicks on your ad and not every time that it appears on a page. So cost per click varies according to the competing bids and your maximum bid. The spend is the amount of advertising money that you put into the pay-per-click campaign for the month. It's the amount that you've actually spent on your advertising. And then total bookings, that's the total amount of completed transactions through the publisher site. And total room nights, that's the total number of room nights that you have received from bookings that happened through the publisher site. And total revenue is the total amount of revenue that you receive from booking through the publisher site. So CPRN, that's cost per room night. That's the amount spent to generate a room night through the publisher site. ROAs, return on ad spend, the amount of revenue a company receives for every dollar spent on advertising. And then GRE is the gross revenue to expense. So that ratio is defined as the revenue minus your expense divided by the expense. So if you've spent $1 to make $9, that GRE is going to be 8-to-1. It's always 1 point below the return on ad spend. In the reports that I send out every month, you'll only see where it says total bookings, but there is also a separate direct bookings number that is listed on my end. I don't always share that information just because it can get a little bit confusing, but just to clarify, the direct is the activity that results when someone clicks directly on your ad and books your hotel. So kind of self-explanatory there. If your ad pops up, someone sees it and they click through on it, and they end up booking directly through that, that's going to be a direct. If it's total, that's includes the direct plus the cross-selling activity that results when someone clicks on an ad for your hotel but books at another hotel. So if there was an ad for a different hotel that someone saw and then they clicked on it, but then inevitably ended up booking your hotel, that will show up in the total number. A lot of the times it's the same and it kind of just depends on the month, but having just this total number is a little bit better and more gives you the full number as opposed to just showing you the direct. So what do these reports look like? Each month you'll see a series of reports. These are all of the Marriott properties listed here for the month of April of 2019. And this just kind of gives you an idea of what you'll see in your reports. So some of those metrics that I mentioned would be clicks. So this is the number of times that your ad was clicked on in the month. Your average cost per click, that's just the average amount that you spent for that click. And then this is your monthly spend here. And this will never go over more than what we have had budgeted at any given point for the month. So I put in your budgeted amounts every month, and the way that the system works is they'll make sure to pace out your clicks so that you're not blowing out your budget in the first week or 2 weeks. So it kind of levels out. And then here is where I'd mentioned the total bookings and total room nights. So you'll see on some of these where it just says total bookings and that number is lower than the total room nights. That just means that someone booked multiple nights when they were booking. So that's why that number is higher. And then your total revenue, that's self-explanatory. That's the total amount of revenue that you got for the month. And then your GRE here. And then this, where I have it highlighted in the green and red, the green is showing the highest performing pages for the month. And then the red is showing the lowest performing. And then the yellow here is it's just averaging the totals out for everyone for the month. This is another report. This is just for travel ads, but it's really similar metrics here, just with the spend, total bookings, total room nights, total revenue, except this one shows the total return on ad spend. So that number is a little bit different than the GRE. For example, this one would be for 5.5 to 1, so you earned $5.5 for every dollar you spent. For this would be 60.3 to 1, which is really high, and that would be $60.3 that you brought in for every $1 you spent. And then here's just a breakdown of some of the different ad channels that your ads could be appearing on. This is just one of the explanations that came up with Marriott, but Hilton is also using the exact same platform now with the Advance program. It just may look a little bit different, but just know that these are the same channels that are being offered through Advance. And those are just automatically being deducted every month for you guys. So Google Hotel Ads, it's a meta search, book direct type ad. It's a high performing ad placement, so it reaches a lot of customers where they're already looking. So 70% of customers who book online and use search engines to find information, there's a 326% increase in average clicks per day versus 32% for non-advertising hotels. TripAdvisor is also another book direct meta search. You're going to be reaching a lot of unique users. A lot of those are in North America, but a lot of them are outside of the country too. It just has a really high volume there. Kayak is also a book direct, and I'll show you in a few slides after this an example of what these ads would look like when, while they're in place. Trivago is another book direct, so it increases hotel bookings by improving visibility, strongly established globally, but it's growing fast in the United States. They have 120 million monthly visitors. Google SEM, that's search engine marketing. So that's something that we don't really put a lot of energy into just because the brands are already working on their SEO for the websites and doing the paid search based on their research, but we do have the ability to buy into a little bit of extra with different keywords here for search engine marketing. But again, that's not something that we are really heavily involved in. Here's a couple of different ones too. So Criteo, that is a display ad. It's a book direct. So this is a retargeting ad. I'm sure you've all have seen something similar to this if you've been on a website like CNN or I don't know, I can't think of any other specific examples right now where you'll see an ad banner either on the right-hand side or in the top. So this retargets people who have visited the brand.com site within 30 days and have shown interest in your hotel. So it uses dynamic creative with images that are already on your website. And this kind of just as a reminder to those people, say, hey, don't forget, kind of, so they don't forget about you. Kayak Inline, this is another one that we don't really invest very heavily in right now, but we may do a little bit more in the next year. But this is also a destination direct booking. So this increases direct bookings by improving your visibility in the channel. And then Expedia Travel Ads, this is something that all of the Hilton properties as well as some of the Marriott properties are now currently bought into. And I have another video that just went out explaining travel ads and kind of the benefits for your hotels. So make sure you watch that one to get a deeper dive into travel ad benefits. And then lastly, Facebook. These are also display ads that are retargeted. I know this works because I get these all the time on my Facebook, and it's because I'm constantly looking at the hotel websites. So I'm looking at a lot of different things. So they're retargeting me in there, but I do get these a lot. And these actually have been very good and performed very well. Hilton and Marriott are both utilizing this right now. And we're waiting until Q1 of 2020 which for them to get some better reporting out for the Hilton channels. This is a newer thing for them, launching the advanced platform. And I know once we hit 2020, they'll have some better reporting underway, so we can share that with you guys when it comes out. So what do my ads look like? Here's just an example, and this visually is constantly changing with all of these. So Google especially is constantly updating what their interface looks like, but this is just to kind of give you an example. If someone is searching for your hotel or wanting to book a room, on the right-hand side of the search, you'll see a list where Google shows you all of the different places that they can go and book that room night. That might be on Booking.com, Orbitz, some random OTA out there. But with the paid advertising, it kind of guarantees that your brand.com site is going to show up higher on that than the other ones. And obviously that's the end goal. For the most part, we want to have people booking directly. So it's just, they're going to be more inclined to click on that top listing there, and we want it to be our brand.com site as much as possible. And then this is a TripAdvisor example, and it's honestly, it's the exact same thing as how Google is. If they're searching, there's typically a list of different OTAs or places where they can go and book the room. And we want to make sure that the brand.com site is up as high as it can. You're not always going to get that first spot there, but as long as it's in the first 3, you're going to have a better chance of people booking directly with you. So travel ads is through Expedia, and this is honestly, it's done a little bit differently than some of the other metasearch ads. This really works best for certain need periods. We want to keep the ads on as frequently as possible, but to reach your potential guests during need periods where you might be a little bit slower is really what the main benefit of travel ads is. So with that advertising, you'll see here without the paid, your hotel may be listed organically at the very bottom of the page or within like the first 10, but you may not be in that top 3 or top 5 placement. But with the travel ads, your ad rank is going to be dependent on the weight of your bid. So if you're competing for that spot with other people, it'll kind of just be dependent on each time if you win out that bid or not. But it guarantees you being in the first 2 to 3 spots here. And again, as I mentioned before, you're going to be more likely to have people click through if you're listed in those top few spots, because people don't like to scroll very far. Rarely do people ever click through onto the second page of Google search. So the higher up you are, the more likely you're going to get those bookings. And then Criteo is one that I mentioned where it's kind of the retargeting ad. So this is an example. This is like a CNN website. So you'll see without that, you'll see a different kind of ad there. This one's for PayPal. But if you are opted into this, then your ad will show up on these different kinds of sites here. And again, these are the retargeting ones. So this is going to show up for people that have already shown interest in your hotel and visited your website. So that was kind of just a brief explanation of the different ad channels and how to read those reports and understand a little bit better of what I'm doing here behind the scenes. And if you guys have any additional questions about anything, please do not hesitate to email me, reach out. I will be happy to answer anything that you may have questions about. And I hope this was informative. So thank you guys for listening. Bye.